Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Godavani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarane. So we're in the month of Purushottama. We're going to hear about the origin of Purushottama Adi Mas. And one thing that you should take away from today is that any devotional or spiritual practices that you do in this month, you get unlimited benefit. So it's very good that you're attending this program. So here's our first bhajan. Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Nanda Kumara Madana Gopala, Nanda Kumara Madana Gopala, Nanda Kumara Madana Gopala, Madana Gopala Mohana Rupa, Madana Gopala Mohana Rupa, Madana Gopala Mohana Rupa, Mohana Rupa Nanda Kumara, Mohana Rupa Nanda Kumara, Mohana Rupa Nanda Kumara, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Govinda Hari Gopala Hari, Govinda Hari Gopala Hari, Govinda Hari Gopala Hari, Jaya Jaya Deva Hari, Jaya Jaya Deva Hari, Jaya Jaya Deva Hari, Jai Prabhu Dina Dayala Hari, Jai Prabhu Dina Dayala Hari, Jai Prabhu Dina Dayala Hari, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Jai Rama Hari, Jai Krishna Hari, Jaya Rama Hari, Jaya Krishna Hari, Jaya Rama Hari, Jaya Krishna Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is all about Purushottam Adi Mas. The first section is taken from Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam in the third canto. So we're going back thousands and thousands and thousands of years to Satya Yuga. Then in the Satya Yuga, the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead, being pleased, showed himself to Kardama Muni and displayed his transcendental form, which can be understood only through the Vedas. Kardama Muni saw that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is free from material contamination, and he saw him in his eternal form, effulgent like the sun, and he was wearing a garland of white lotus flowers and water lilies. The Lord was clad in spotless yellow silk, and his lotus face was fringed with slick dark locks of curly hair. Adorned with a crown and earrings, he held his characteristic conch, disc, and mace in 3 of his hands, and a white lily in the 4th. The Lord was glancing about in a happy, smiling mood, which captivates the hearts of all devotees. A golden streak on his chest, known as Sri Vatsa, and the famous Kaustuba gem suspended from his neck. He stood in the air with his lotus feet placed on the shoulders of Garuda. And when Kardama Muni actually realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead in person, Kardama was greatly satisfied because his transcendental desire was fulfilled. Kardama fell on the ground, his head bowed to offer obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Kardama's heart, naturally full of love of God, and so with folded hands, he satisfied the Lord with prayers. So there are many prayers that Kardama offered, but we are interested in one specific prayer because Prabhupada in that purport explains something about Purushottam Adi Mas. So here's the prayer. O Lord, your wheel, which has 3 naves, rotates around the axis of the imperishable Brahman. It has 13 spokes, 360 joints, 6 rims, and numberless leaves carved upon it. And through its revolution, it cuts short the lifespan of the entire creation. This wheel of tremendous philosophy cannot touch the lifespan of the devotees of the Lord. So that's important. By being a devotee, your lifespan is enhanced. So keep and remain devotee. That is the best insurance program to have a longevity life. Just like you've heard me say hundreds of times, I ask you to bless me to live to be 108 so that I can do these programs. So I'm asking you all now to bless me. Everyone chant Hare Krishna. I will see if you're moving your lips. Come on. Out loud, chant. Bless me. Krishna is hearing your prayers. Thank you for your blessings. Now Prabhupada has his purport. The time factor cannot affect the span of life of the devotees. In Bhagavad Gita it is stated that a little execution of devotional service saves one from the greatest danger. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. The greatest danger is transmigration of the soul from one body to another, and only devotional service to the Lord can stop this process. It is stated in the Vedic literatures, Haring vina na mritam taranti. Without the mercy of the Lord, one cannot stop the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita it is stated, Janma karma chame divyam evang yoveti tatvataha jaktva dehang punar janma naiti mameti sorjuna. It is only by understanding the transcendental nature of the Lord and His activities, His appearance and disappearance, can one stop the cycle of death and go back to Godhead. So this is one reason why we study Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, because we want to know as much as we can about Krishna's Janma Karma, his birth, activities, and Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's words. So by studying these, we are qualifying ourselves at the end of this life to go back to Godhead. I'm sure now because of coronavirus you have understood. I don't want to take another birth because the next virus is going to be even more worse. So this should be a wake-up call. Krishna is giving everybody in the whole world. You want to stay here in this stupid material world? You want to go through another quarantine? Then get yourself back home, back to Godhead now. That's why we study these Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada's purport continues. The time factor is divided into many fractions of moments, hours, months, years, periods, seasons, etc. All the divisions in this verse are determined according to astronomical calculations through the Vedic literature. There are 6 seasons called ritus, and there is the 4-month period of Chaturmasya. 3 periods of 4 months complete 1 year. According to Vedic astronomical calculations, however, there are 13 months. The 13th month is called Adi Mas or Mala Mas. Now, some of you might know what that word Mala means. It will be explained later if you don't know what Mala means. This Mala Mas is added every 3rd year. The time factor, however, cannot touch the lifespan of the devotees. In another verse in Bhagavatam, it is stated, Ayur harati vaipungsang udyan astang chayan asao tasyarta yat chano nita utam ashloka vartaya. As the sun rises and sets, it takes away the life of all living entities, but it cannot take away the life of those who are engaged in devotional service. Time is herein compared to a big wheel which has 360 joints, 6 rims in the shape of seasons, and numberless leaves in the shape of moments, and it rotates on the eternal existence, Brahman. So the main point here is that this year we have been observing this Purushottama Adi Mas. This is the last week. So as I mentioned, and we'll hear about it, but right now, please take it. The remainder of this week, for the next 6 days, simply as much as possible, do japa, do studying of Gita and Bhagavatam, give in charity to temples and devotees, and do all kinds of devotional activities. You want to maximize for the next 6 days, 7 days, maximize your devotional activities, because you're going to get an unlimited return on investment, more so than any other time of the year, within 3 years. So we should have done this program a while ago, but better late than never. You have 1 month. Maximize. Chanting, hearing, praying, worshiping, donating. Maximize it. So now we go to the Puranas. And we're going to hear a story within a story within a story within a story. Because that's how the Puranas are. And sometimes it's hard to keep track. Yeah, who's talking? What's going on? Anyway, I'll do my best to help you. But here we go, from the Puranas. Once upon a time, thousands of sages came together in the holy place called Naimisharanya in order to perform sacrifice. And to their very good fortune, the great sage Sutta Goswami, who had been traveling to different pilgrimage sites, arrived there along with his disciples. The sages present were very enlivened to see Sutta. They all stood up immediately to pay respects to that great sage. They offered him a very nice Vyasa-san, and with folded hands requested him to sit down. The sages of Naimisharanya then said to Sutta, "O Suttaji, all of us are humbly requesting you to please tell us something about the wonderful activities and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Indeed, there are many thousands of such narrations, but we want to listen to the most perfect one, following which we can all be delivered from this material ocean and return back to Godhead." Hearing this request made by the sages, headed by Shaunaka Rishi, Sutta Goswami began to speak. "O sages, please listen to me. I first went to Pushkar Tirtha, and then after visiting thousands of other holy places, I reached Hastinapur. And there on the bank of the Ganges, I saw thousands of sages sitting together with Parikshit Maharaj. And just then, the great sage Shukadeva Goswami appeared, and all the sages present paid him proper respect, rising from their seats with folded hands. All the sages unanimously offered the Vyasa-san to Shukadeva Goswami, which is meant for the speaker who would recite Krishna Katha to Maharaj Parikshit. O sages, let me tell you, I have just now come from Hastinapur, where I heard the entire Srimad Bhagavatam from the lotus mouth of Shukadev. So now I will tell you about the all-attractive activities and pastimes of the Lord. So now we go to the next conversation. Here we go. Once, long ago, Sri Narada Muni reached Badarik Ashram, which is the residence of Lord Narayana Rishi. The river Alakananda was flowing down from his lotus feet, Narada paid his obeisances to Lord Narayan and prayed, O Lord of the demigods, O ocean of mercy, O master of creation, you are ever truthful. You are the essence of all truths, and so I am paying my obeisances unto you. O Lord, in this material world, all living entities are busily engaged in sense gratification, and they have all forgotten the ultimate goal of life. Therefore, please explain something which will be helpful both for householders as well as sages in the renounced order like me. Something that will help all of us attain self-realization and return back to Godhead. So here's another point. We householders are not excluded from making spiritual advancement. In the Mayavad Shankara Sampradaya, householders are not allowed. They cannot make any spiritual advancement. But in the Bhakti Marg, you as householders can make spiritual advancement. This is very significant. Hearing the sweet words of Narada, Lord Narayan smiled. O Narada, please listen to narrations about the supremely pure, pious pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, for that will diminish all sinful reactions. Next point here. Hearing about Krishna destroys all sinful reactions. O Narada, you already know of all the activities of the Supreme Lord, but for the benefit of others, you are asking me again. So now I will tell you about the glories of the sacred Purushottama month, which is fully potent to grant not only all material happiness, but also qualify one to return back to Godhead at the end of life. Just see, you're going to get double blessings today. You're going to get all material happiness if you stay long enough to the end. And you're also qualifying to go back to Godhead at the end. And what else is significant? The Lord said, Narada, you're asking, you already know. You're asking for the benefit of everyone else. That's the mark of a real devotee. A real devotee is not self-centered and selfish. No. A real devotee cares about others. That's when you know you have found a real devotee. They're not just self-centered and to hell with everybody else. I'm sure you know many people like that. But a devotee is someone who cares about others. Naradaji then inquired, O Lord, I have heard the glories of all months, including Kartik, Chaitra, and others. But which month is this Purushottama month? O ocean of mercy, please tell me all about this sacred month. What is the way to glorify this month? What should I do in this month? How should I take a bath? How should I give in charity? What should I chant? Who should I worship? Should I observe fasting? Please tell me everything in detail. So now we go back to the previous conversation. Sutta Goswami is speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya. O sages, after hearing all these questions from Narada, Lord Narayan began to speak from his moon-like lotus mouth. So now we're back into Lord Narayan speaking to Narada Muni. Stay with it. Don't give up. Oh, Narada, I'm going to tell you something which was previously explained by Lord Krishna to Maharaj Yudhisthira. So now we're going to yet another conversation. Once, Pandava Dharmaraj lost everything his empire, his palace, and even his chaste wife Draupadi. He lost it all to Duryodhan in a gambling match. You all know more better than me all about that. You grew up on that. I learned about it only about 10 years ago, but you guys knew about it since you were babies. At that time, Draupadi was insulted by Dushashan in front of the whole royal assembly. But when Dushashan tried to strip Draupadi naked, Draupadi was saved from such a dangerous situation by Lord Krishna himself. After all, what did Krishna do? He supplied unlimited cloth. Prabhupada explains. They were pulling until there were heaps of cloth in the room. They never got to see naked Draupadi. All because Draupadi one time put a strip of cloth on Krishna's finger when he, quote unquote, cut his finger cutting fruit. But Krishna doesn't bleed. He just did that as a play. Krishna doesn't bleed. But for Draupadi's benefit, he did that and gave Draupadi an opportunity to render service. And Krishna told her at that time, someday I will repay. Just see. She just gave a little bit of cloth, and for Draupadi, she got unlimited heaps of cloth till the whole room was full of saris. I don't know what they did with the saris. I don't know if they sold them or what, but they never got to see. I think Komal's liking. She's laughing. That's good. Prabhupada once told one of his disciples that if you can get the audience laughing, you've done a good job. Let's continue. She was thus saved by Lord Krishna. After this incident, Yudhishthira Maharaj, along with his brothers and wife, left the kingdom and lived in Kamayak forest. Once, Sri Krishna, son of Devaki, visited the Pandavas in that forest. All the Pandavas, including Draupadi, were very happy to see Krishna, and thus they forgot their painful forest life. Immediately, they all felt enriched with renewed life just by taking darshan of Krishna, and they all paid obeisances at Krishna's lotus feet. Seeing the miserable living condition of the Pandavas, Krishna became very upset. And at the same time, Krishna became especially angry towards Duryodhan. I like that about Krishna, because I also hate Duryodhan. Every time I was reading the Mahabharata, I would get so angry at that rascal. I hated him. That's why I couldn't wait till at the end where Bhima took care of him. I said, finally, hate that rascal. So I see Krishna also was angry. That's why I like Krishna. It appeared as if Krishna was going to destroy the whole universe. And so the Pandavas became fearful, and they all began to pray to Krishna in a humble mood. Just see the Pandavas. Even though Duryodhan did so much to them, they were concerned. I can't understand it. I can't understand it. Listening to the humble prayers of Arjuna, Krishna composed himself. So this tells you how intimate Arjuna is, that he's able to calm Krishna down. Very interesting. So here is Krishna. O Arjuna, being very pleased with all of you Pandavas, and being controlled by your devotion and friendship towards me, I will now tell you about the wonderful history of Purushottama month. So now Krishna is speaking to the Pandavas, specifically Arjuna, but they're all there. Now Krishna is going to tell us directly. So listen carefully. Once upon a time, by the arrangement of providence, an extra month came to this world. But everyone took this month to be most inauspicious, And they even saw it as a stool-like month. So that's the meaning of Mala, stool. So originally, everyone took this extra month as a stool month. I won't use the word that most Americans use. You all know what stool is. Just as one should not touch stool, so this month was also viewed as untouchable. It was constantly unprotected and blasphemed and rejected by everyone as an improper time for any religious or auspicious activity. Just like there are times in the day when it is more auspicious to do spiritual activities like early morning. Prabhupada recommends you get up early and do chanting early in the morning because it's easier and the mode of goodness is flowing. But if you have to do it afternoon or evening, something is better than nothing. Always remember that. But if you can, morning, best time for spiritual practices. So arrange your schedule, watch less TV and soccer games, go to bed early, get up early, and get fired up, just like I'm fired up. Why? Because I use that morning time for hearing and chanting. Being so rejected by all human beings and constantly hearing only bad words and blasphemy, this extra month became very sad. She went to Vaikuntha to explain her sorrowful situation to the Lord. Seeing Lord Vishnu on his Singha-asana, she fell down at his lotus feet in a mood of sorrow and grief. Tears were falling profusely from her eyes, and she thus started praying to the Lord. O ocean of mercy, I have come to you helpless. I have been rejected and blasphemed by all the peoples of the world. My Lord, please protect me. Please show me your mercy. Please do not be indifferent towards me. Saying these words, the extra month continued crying in front of Lord Vishnu and sat down before him in a dejected mood. Seeing the humble and deplorable position of the extra month, Lord Vishnu became very merciful towards her. Just like we have one prayer, Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu. Krishna is an ocean of mercy. Please remember, if you cry out to Krishna, if you call out to Krishna, He will take care of you. I have much experience of this in my life. If you cry out to Krishna, He won't disappoint you. So now Lord Vishnu says, do not lament, for I shall give you all protection. Please stop crying, because it is not proper to lament after taking shelter at my lotus feet. Being so consoled by the Lord, the extra month began speaking in open-hearted language. O Lord, you know all about my painful condition. No one is in a more miserable situation than me. First of all other months, years, days, nights, decorations are being protected by you. And so they are always moving fearlessly in their unique, charming moods. But I, being the extra month, do not have any name. I do not have any protector. I do not have a husband to give me shelter. And all the demigods and human beings have rejected me for any auspicious activities. And it is for this reason, O Lord, I want to die immediately. Lord Narayan then said, so we're going back. We're going back another conversation. Yes. Now we're going back to Narayan, who's telling this story within a story to Narada. "Oh Narada, this extra month repeatedly said, 'I want to die, I want to die, I want to die.' Then she fainted at the feet of the Lord of Vaikuntha. Being requested by Lord Vishnu, Garuda started fanning the extra month. And after some time, she got up again and began to speak. 'O Lord of the universe, I am in need of your shelter. Please protect me.' Lord Vishnu then told the extra month, 'O child, please do not lament. All of your miserable conditions will be finished very soon. Get up and come with me to Goloka Vrindavan.'" Wow. Lord Vishnu is incapable of solving the problem. This blows my mind. How is that? So he's going to now, Vishnu is going to take her to Goloka Vrindavan, to the spiritual world, the topmost planet. This planet is obtainable, is unattainable, even by great yogis. Goloka is the abode of Lord Krishna. There, Lord Krishna lives in his two-handed form, surrounded by gopis, and is enjoying his eternal pastimes. The Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, who lives in Goloka, will deliver you from all your miseries. So please come with me. So let's get a picture. Here we go. Now we're in Goloka. Yes. You see the picture there? Now we're in Goloka. So now we're going into another conversation. Whew. It's like 4 or 5 conversations going on here. All right. Speaking in this way, Lord Vishnu took the Malamas by the hand to Goloka. From a distant place, Lord Vishnu and Malamas observed the effulgence of Goloka. This dazzling effulgence automatically forced Malamas to close her eyes. Same thing happened to me. When I first saw Prabhupada, he was also effulgent, and that effulgence knocked me down to the ground, and I paid my obeisances to Prabhupada for the first time. And what did I think at that time? I thought, now I have found the modern Jesus. All my life I had read about Jesus. But when I saw Prabhupada effulgent, very effulgent, I said, now I have found the modern Jesus. Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Vishnu proceeded farther until he reached the main gate. There the doorkeeper paid respects to him. Having reached the supreme abode, Lord Vishnu met Lord Sri Krishna, who was surrounded by many devoted, as you see here, gopis. That's Goloka. Gopis and gopas. That's who surrounds Krishna. Then, the extra month also offered her obeisances, even though she was crying loudly. Boy, she can't stop crying. She's very emotional. Whew. Then, Sri Krishna asked, and Krishna is talking to Vishnu, why is she crying? She is in Goloka Vrindavan. So why is she crying? Hearing these words, Lord Vishnu got up from his seat and started explaining the whole miserable condition of Malamas. Lord Vishnu begged Krishna to please protect this unprotected month. Lord Vishnu said, there is no one except you, Lord Krishna, who can save this extra month from her hellish condition. So please give her full protection. Having said these words, Lord Vishnu then remained standing in front of Lord Krishna with folded hands. And now we go back even further to Sutta Goswami speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya. So we're like 4 conversations back. Boom, boom. You see this sometimes in movies, they do the same trick. But nothing new under the sun. This has been there even in the Puranas. Sutta Goswami spoke. Lord Vishnu then took his seat, and Lord Krishna spoke very confidential words to him. O sages of Naimisharanya, listen carefully, for I'm now going to share these words with all of you. So this is Krishna speaking to Malamas in Goloka. So now we're going back to Goloka Vrindavan. O Vishnu, you have done a very great deed by bringing this extra month to me. And for this, you will become even more famous. Because you have accepted this Malamas, I also will now accept her. I shall make this poor extra month just like me in quality, fame, opulence, realization, success, and in giving benedictions to devotees. Please take that deep into your heart. And this month will become equally potent to me. I am bestowing all of my divine qualities in this abused month. Named after me, this month will now be famous as Purushottama month in this world. So she was personally given this name by Krishna, personally protected, and it is surcharged by Krishna himself. This month is so spiritually potent. Now Krishna continues. Now he's going to speak to Vishnu. O Janardhan, now that she has imbued my qualities, I myself will become the husband and protector of this Purushottama month. And being equal to me, this month will be the master of all other months. I guess this sheds some light on how we read in the Vedas that Lakshmi is the better half of Vishnu, and you husbands, your wife should be viewed as your better half, not your bitter half. There's a difference between better and bitter. The wife is the better half. Please meditate on that. Ayush likes that. He's laughing, but it's true. Being equal to me, this month will be the master of all other months. Now this month will become worshipable by one and all. Everyone should pay their respects to her, and everyone should worship her. This month is equally as powerful as me to give any type of benediction to its observer. I am making this month desire-free, unlike other months, which are full of some desire or another. The worshiper of this month will be able to burn all of one's past sinful reactions to ashes, and after enjoying a blissful life in the material realm, one will return back to Godhead. Lord Sri Krishna continued to speak. He's speaking to Janardhan or Vishnu. O Garuda Dvaja, my Goloka is unattainable to the performers of austerities, unobtainable to performers of pious activities, unattainable to people who simply maintain celibacy, or to those who fast throughout their whole life duration. But just by observing Purushottama month and becoming a devotee. You have to become a devotee. How do you become a devotee? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Not to say, oh, I'm a devotee, I'm Hindu. No, 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 no. You have to do something to show that you're a devotee. You have to chant and hear. Sorry, you have to do something. So, those who observe Purushottama month and become a devotee can easily cross over this material ocean and return back to Godhead. Observance of this Purushottama month is the best of all austerities. Just as a farmer produces a rich harvest by planting seeds in nicely cultivated land, so an intelligent person who practices devotional service to the Supreme Lord in this month will enjoy a blissful life while in this world, and after leaving, will return back to Godhead. So what is devotional service? Hearing, that's what you're doing right now. Chanting, remembering Krishna, praying to Krishna, worshiping Krishna. 9 different ways you render devotional service. Eating for Krishna, that's I call the 10th. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Eatanam, Prasadanam. Offer your food to Krishna, eat it, that's also devotional service. But now Krishna gives a warning. But any unfortunate, ignorant person who does not perform any japa, I'm not making this up, it's right here in the text. Anyone who does not perform any japa, I know all of you do japa, I'm sure. If not, you better start today. Anyone who does not do japa, who does not give charity, who does not pay respects to me and my devotees, who does not behave properly towards Brahmins, makes enmity with others, or who blasphemes this Purushottama month, will go to hell for an unlimited period. So you think coronavirus is bad? Hell is 100,000 times worse than coronavirus. Coronavirus is giving you a preview of what is hell. Krishna continued, how can a person make their life successful unless one performs devotional service in this Purushottama month? A person who is fully engaged in sense gratification and who does not give any special importance to this sacred month becomes the best candidate for hell. All human beings should perform some devotional service in this Purushottama month. Just do some. How? Take a bath in the holy river. Worship Krishna. Chant his holy name. Give in charity to Krishna and his devotees. A fortunate person who follows my instructions and who observes Purushottama month properly in a faithful way and who worships me will attain fame, opulence, and good progeny in this very life. After enjoying a happy life, one will return. This is what Prabhupada teaches. You will return. That means you originally were there. Otherwise, why would it say return? You can't say return to some place you never were. But Prabhupada repeatedly says in his books, we return home back to Godhead. Just like hopefully next year I can return to Santiago, since I've come there every year thanks to Levine since 2005 and also Ranjit a few times. But if I can't say, oh, I'm going to return to Russia. I've never been to the place. But I've been to Santiago. So repeatedly this term is used. Return home, back to Godhead. By following my instructions, everyone should worship the sacred month. I have made it the best among all other months. O husband of Rama Devi, O Vishnu, give up all kinds of mental speculation. Just take this Purushottama month with you to your Vaikuntha abode. After narrating this brief history, Lord Krishna glanced very mercifully upon Yudhishthira and Draupadi and then began speaking to Arjuna. So we've been hearing Krishna speaking to Arjuna and Draupadi, this whole story of going to Goloka. So now we're being reminded, Krishna is speaking. O lion among men, can you now understand the reason why you Pandavas are suffering? After all, they're in the forest, right? They've been banished to the forest for so many years after the gambling match. So Krishna is questioning them. Do you know why this is happening? It is because you did not acknowledge or honor Purushottam month. That month which is most dear to Krishna has passed. But you Pandavas were in the forest and did not worship Purushottam month. Now you are suffering. You have been following all the ritualistic principles given to you by Vyasadeva, but unless you worship Purushottam month, you cannot perform pure devotional service to me. As I said, I don't know what you've been doing all month, but if you haven't been doing anything, you got 6 or 7 days left. Get on the stick, get on the ball, do something. So now, this is the best part of the whole katha. So don't quit yet, because this is the best part. Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, Yudhishthira, and Draupadi. This next part blows my mind. Now I'm going to narrate a famous historical event concerning the previous birth of Draupadi. In your previous birth, Draupadi, you were the daughter of a great Brahmin called Medhavi. Your mother died when you were a small child, and so you were under the care of your father. Day by day you grew to full blooming youth. You were very beautiful, but your father was not interested in arranging your marriage. Seeing your other girlfriends with their husbands and young children, you passed your days in a very miserable way. In the meantime, your father passed away, and he passed away by uttering the sacred name Hari. Everybody, come on, Hari. Come on, say it like you mean it. Hari. Very good, Komal. I'm looking at you. But that's why I want to see your faces. I want to see who's paying attention and who's doing other things. Yes, very good. Herman is smiling. Very good, Herman. So this made you even more miserable. Fortunately, the great sage Durvasa Muni appeared in your ashram shortly after your father's death. Seeing that great sage, you paid obeisances and respectfully worshipped Durvasa. You offered flowers and fruits to that great sage. And when Durvasa expressed his pleasure with you, you began lamenting and crying. Concerned, Durvasa inquired about your lamentation, and so you began to speak. O great Saint Durvasa, you indeed know everything past, present, and future. I have no shelter in this world. I have lost all of my relatives. My parents have passed away. I have no elder brother, and I am also unmarried. And therefore there is no husband to protect me. O great sage, please do something. Please help me. Please give me some advice to relieve me from my miserable condition. After listening to your prayer, Durvasa began to consider your unfortunate condition. And so he decided to show you mercy. And so he spoke. O beautiful one, 3 months from now, the most sacred, auspicious Purushottama month will begin. This sacred month is most dear to Lord Krishna. Just by taking a holy bath in this month, a man or woman can become completely sinless. By the way, you're all living in Santiago, but if you have Ganga Jal, perhaps some of you have a bottle of Ganga Jal, just put a couple of drops on your head, you have done Ganga Snan. So do that. And if somebody doesn't and you do, share your Ganga Jal. This takes 3 drops. You have bathed in the Ganga. This Purushottama month is more glorious than all other months, including Kartik. Wow. When I read that, I became stunned because Kartik is up every year. That is always considered the most sacred, but Purushottama is more. The glories of all other months is not even 1/16 the glories of Purushottama month. Haribol Sakishtali. Good to see you. The merit of a person who takes a holy bath even once in this month is equal to the merit of taking bath in the Ganges for 12,000 years, or the merit achieved by a person who takes a bath in the river Godavari. When Brihaspati, Jupiter, enters the house of Leo, the lion, if you will take a holy bath, give charity, chant the holy name of Krishna. Everybody say, Krishna, come on. Everybody. Jai. We did some service in this month of Purushottama. You will attain all kinds of perfection. All your miseries will go away. Please follow my advice. Please do not forget to worship the forthcoming Purushottama month very sincerely. After speaking these words, Durvasa remained silent. Unfortunately, Draupadi, you did not believe his words. Instead, you became angry and started blaspheming. You said, O great sage, you are lying. How could this extra month, which is called stool month, be superior to other great months like Magh, Kartik, and Vaishakha? Now I cannot believe your words. Durvasa, you must be trying to cheat me. For this extra month is known to be the most abominable for any kind of pious activities. Hearing these words from you, Durvasa became very angry. His whole body started burning and his eyes became red. But remembering that you were a helpless girl, he controlled himself. So Durvasa then told you, O ignorant soul, I am not going to curse you because your father was a good friend of mine. You are in such a helpless condition, being an ignorant child, you cannot understand the Shastric conclusion. So I am not going to take your offenses towards me seriously. But at the same time, I cannot and shall not tolerate your offenses towards Purushottama. So in your next life, you will certainly reap the results of your offensive words. Then the great sage Durvasa hurriedly left that place to perform his service of Lord Narayan. That's significant. Durvasa Muni is an expansion of Lord Shiva. And look who he's worshiping. Narayana. Very nice. Lord Krishna then told Arjuna, O sinless one, when Durvasa Muni left that place, Draupadi in her previous life then lost all of her opulences within a moment. Being an offender to Purushottam month, her body began to look very ugly, and she lost all of her bodily effulgence. She then decided to worship Lord Shiva, who is known as Ashutosh, one who is very easily pleased and one who is easily displeased. Works both ways. Be careful. Be careful. You then began to perform great austerities to please Lord Shiva, husband of Parvati. You continued your austerities for 9,000 years. My God. And we give excuse, oh Prabhu, I cannot do japa, it takes too long. Give me a break. 9,000 years. Japa takes at most 2 hours. Come on. Get up with it. In the summer season, you would sit for meditation, surrounded by fire under the hot sun. In the winter, you meditating under freezing cold water. Observing great austerities, even the demigods became fearful. Lord Shankara then appeared before you, and he was pleased by your worship and austerities. And when Lord Shiva appeared before you, you immediately stood up and you were rejuvenated. In the presence of Lord Shiva, all of your bodily weakness disappeared, and you once again started to look beautiful. Seeing Lord Shiva in front of you, you worshipped him within your mind, and then began to recite nice prayers to please him. And being very pleased with you, Lord Shiva said, O performer of austerity, all good fortune to you. Now, please ask some boon from me, for I am pleased with you and shall grant whatever you want. And so, Draupadi, at that time you said, O friend of the poor, if you are indeed pleased with me, then kindly give me a husband. But you just didn't say it once, you said it 5 times. Give me a husband. 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 I lost track. Is that 5? Anyway, she said it 5 times and then fell silent. So what did Lord Shiva say? Tatastu. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. You have asked for 5 times a husband, thus you will get 5 husbands in your next life. But hearing Lord Shiva, you became very ashamed. Oh Lord, it is most abominable for a girl to have 5 husbands, so please retract your words. Lord Shiva then told you, that is impossible for me. What you have asked will be granted. In your next life, you will get 5 husbands. Previously, you offended Purushottam month by not following the kind advice of Durvasa. O Brahman girl, there is no difference between my body and Durvasa. All the demigods, including Lord Brahma, and all the great saints like Narada, worship Purushottam month in accord with the order of Lord Krishna. A devotee of Purushottam month achieves all good fortune in this life, and at the end goes back to Golokadam, the abode of Lord Krishna. And so, being an offender to this sacred month, you will get 5 husbands in your next life. You then became very moroseful, but Lord Shiva immediately disappeared. After Lord Shiva's departure, you became very morose and fearful about your future life. In this way, after a few days, you left your body by the arrangement of providence. So now, going back, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, Draupadi, and Yudhishthira. And so Arjuna, in the meantime, the great king Drupada, had been performing an elaborate sacrifice. And from this sacrificial fire, you took birth, Draupadi. You appeared as the daughter of Maharaj Drupada. O Arjuna, the same daughter of Medhavi Rishi, has now become famous in this world as Draupadi. She is none other than your present wife. Because she blasphemed Purushottama month in her previous life, she was insulted by Dushashan in front of the whole Kuru assembly in the presence of all her 5 husbands. But fortunately, she remembered me and took shelter of me. Forgiving her offenses, I protected her from that most abominable condition and saved her from the hands of Dushashan. Oh dear Pandava brothers, please do not forget to worship the next Purushottama appearance. A person who blasphemes Purushottama month and who doesn't worship her and who doesn't worship me will never attain good fortune. This Purushottama month is fully potent to fulfill all your desires and remove all your miseries. Now your 14 years of forest life is coming to an end. So please worship Purushottama month, for it will bestow all good fortune upon you. And so that's what the Pandavas did. They worshipped Purushottama month, and they got the blessings of Lord Krishna. And what happened? At the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, after Yudhishthira was enthroned king, after some time, Yudhishthira decided to leave this world, and his brothers followed. And if you read Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam says very clearly, the Pandavas, Draupadi, they all went back to Godhead. And that, my friends, is the story of Purushottama Adhika Mas. I will chant prayers to Lord Nisringa since we are in this COVID pandemic. And I'm praying that you are all protected. And since it's Purushottama month, we will get so much blessings by chanting the prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. And I'm going to unmute you all. So unmute yourselves, and you can all, wait, it didn't work. Unmute yourselves, everybody unmute yourselves, and sing along with me. We sing together. Yes, I also love the bell, Sakistali. Thank you. Namaste Narasimhaya Bolo. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praklada Klada Dayane. Praklada Klada Dayane. Hiranya Kashipur Vakshaha. Hiranya Kashipur Vakshaha. Shila Tankana Kalaye. Shila Tankana Kalaye. Ito Nasringa Parato Nasringa. Ito Nasringa, Padato Nasringa. I don't see you, Ranjit, chanting. Yato, yato, yamitato Nasringa. Yato, yato, yamitato. I see Roshan chanting. I see Saki Stali chanting. Bahi Nasringa Ridaye Nasringa. Bahi Nasringa Ridaye Nasringa. Very good, Ranjit. Nasringamadim Sharanam Prapadye. Nasringamadim Sharanam Prapadye. Avakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahadi Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Everybody Avakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahadi Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadrita Narahadi Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadish, Jai Jagadish, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Everybody, Jai Jagadish, Jai Jagadish, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Purushottama month ki